Hey everyone, if you're waiting for money from the IRS, what I'm about to tell you could put up to $1,400 in your bank account starting March 5th. The IRS just confirmed they're sending out stimulus payments to people who were eligible but never received them. And here's the best part. If you qualify, you don't have to do anything. The money will be sent automatically. But there's a catch. Not everyone knows they qualify. And if you miss the deadline to claim it, that money is gone forever. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down exactly who qualifies, how much money we're talking about, when the payments start, and what you need to do to make sure you get your payment if you're eligible. If you've been struggling to make ends meet, this could be the extra help you need. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand. I'm Zane, and this is Seniors Social Security Updates. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an important update like this one. Today we are talking about something that a lot of Americans have been waiting for, and that is the new stimulus payments from the IRS that are set to start going out on March 5th. Now, I know a lot of you have been hearing rumors and bits and pieces of information floating around on social media, and it can be really confusing trying to figure out what is true and what is not. So, in this video, I am going to break everything down for you in plain and simple language, so that by the time you finish watching this, you will know exactly what is going on, who qualifies, how much money we are talking about, and what you need to do to make sure you get your payment. So sit tight, grab a cup of coffee, and let us get into it. First of all, let me just say that this is real. This is not some clickbait nonsense or some rumor that someone made up on the internet. The IRS has actually confirmed that they are sending out payments. And the reason behind this is actually pretty interesting. You see, what happened is that during the previous rounds of stimulus payments, there were a lot of people who were eligible to receive money. But for one reason or another, they never got it. Maybe they did not file their taxes. Maybe there was a glitch in the system. Maybe their information was not updated. Or maybe they just did not know they qualified. Whatever the reason, the IRS has identified that there is a large group of Americans who were supposed to get stimulus money but never did. And now they are making it right. The IRS went back through their records, looked at tax returns, cross-referenced data, and figured out who got missed. And now those people are going to get their money. Now, let me talk about the timeline because I know that is what a lot of you want to know. When is this money actually going to hit your bank account or show up in your mailbox? The IRS has said that the payments are going to start going out on March 5th, and they will continue to be sent out in batches over the following weeks. So, not everyone is going to get their money on the exact same day. If you are set up for direct deposit with the IRS, meaning they have your bank account information on file from your tax returns, then you are probably going to be one of the first people to get your payment. Direct deposit is always faster, and the IRS has said that most people who are getting their payments electronically should see the money in their accounts within a few days of that March 5 start date. Now, if you are someone who gets a paper check in the mail, it is going to take a little longer. Paper checks always take more time because they have to be printed, processed, and mailed. So, if you are expecting a paper check, you might be looking at a few weeks after March 5th before it shows up at your door. But either way, the money is coming, and that is the important thing. Now let us talk about the big question that everyone wants to know, and that is how much money are we talking about here? The amount that each person is going to receive depends on their individual situation, but the IRS has said that the payments could be up to $1,400 per person. That is the same amount as the third round of stimulus payments that went out under the American Rescue Plan back in 2021. So, if you were supposed to get that $1,400 payment and you never received it, that is what you are going to be getting now. And remember, this is per person. So, if you are married and filing jointly and both you and your spouse were missed, you could be looking at $2,800. And if you have qualifying dependents who were also missed, you could be getting $1,400 for each of them too. Now, I want to be clear that not everyone is going to get the full $1,400. Some people might get a partial payment depending on their income level and their specific tax situation. Alright, so now let us get into the eligibility details because this is really the meat of the whole thing. Who actually qualifies for these payments? Well, the main group of people who are going to be receiving these payments are individuals who were eligible for the third economic impact payment, which is the official name for the third round of stimulus checks, but who did not claim it. And the way you were supposed to claim it, if you did not get it automatically, was by filing a tax return and claiming what is called the Recovery Rebate Credit. The Recovery Rebate Credit was a special line on your tax return that allowed you to get any stimulus money that you were owed but did not receive. The problem is that a lot of people either did not file a tax return at all, or they did file, but they left that line blank or put 0 on it even though they were actually eligible. And the IRS knows this because they can see in their records that these people qualified for the payment but never claimed it. So instead of just letting that money sit there, the IRS decided to go ahead and send it out automatically. That means if you are one of these people, you do not have to do anything. You do not have to file an amended return. You do not have to call the IRS. The IRS is going to send you the money automatically. Now let me talk about the income requirements because this is another area where people get confused. For the third round of stimulus payments, the income limits were as follows. If you were a single filer, you needed to have an adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less to get the full payment. If you were the head of household, your adjusted gross income needed to be $112,500 or less. And if you were married filing jointly, your combined adjusted gross income needed to be $150,000 or less. Now, if your income was above those amounts, you could still get a partial payment, but it would be reduced. The payments phased out completely for single filers at $80,000. And the income that the IRS is looking at is based on your most recent tax return that they have on file, which for most people would be either your 2020 or 2021 tax return. Now, here is something really important that I want to make sure everyone understands. There are some people out there who did not file a tax return for 2020 or 2021 because they thought they did not need to. Maybe they did not earn enough money to be required to file. Or maybe they were on Social Security or disability and thought they were exempt from filing. Well, here's the thing. Even if you were not required to file a tax return, you still might be eligible for this payment. The IRS has been using other data sources besides just tax returns to identify eligible individuals. For example, if you receive Social Security retirement benefits, Social Security disability benefits, supplemental security income, or railroad retirement benefits, the IRS may already have enough information to send you a payment. However, and this is a big however, if you are someone who has not filed a tax return and you are not receiving any of those government benefits, then the IRS might not know about you. In that case, you would need to file a tax return, even a late one, to claim the Recovery Rebate Credit and get your payment. Speaking of deadlines, let me talk about that for a second. The IRS has said that if you have not yet filed a tax return to claim the Recovery Rebate Credit, you generally have until April 15, 2025 to file your 2021 tax return. After that date, you may lose your chance to get this money. So, if you are watching this video and you think you might be eligible, but you have not filed, please do not wait. Now, I want to address some common questions. One question I see all the time is whether these payments are taxable, and the answer is no, they are not. Stimulus payments are not considered taxable income. You do not have to pay federal income tax on them, and you do not have to report them as income on your tax return. Another question I get a lot is whether these payments will affect other government benefits that people receive. For example, if you are on food stamps or receiving Medicaid or housing assistance, will getting a stimulus payment mess that up? And the good news is that generally no, it will not. Stimulus payments are not counted as income for the purposes of determining eligibility for federal benefit programs. Now let me talk about how you can check the status of your payment once the payments start going out. The IRS has an online tool called Get My Payment, and you can find it on the IRS website at irs.gov. This tool allows you to check whether your payment has been sent, whether it was sent by direct deposit or by mail, and it will give you a date for when you should expect to receive it. I also want to warn everyone to be very careful about scams. Whenever the IRS announces that payments are going out, the scammers come out of the woodwork. Let me be very clear about this. The IRS will never call you and ask for your social security number, your bank account information, or your credit card number over the phone. The IRS will never send you an email or a text message asking you to click on a link and enter your personal information. If anyone contacts you and asks for any of these things, it is a scam. Now let me also mention something for people who have moved or changed their bank account since the last time they filed a tax return. If you have a new address or a new bank account, the IRS might not have your current information. If you have moved, you should file a change of address form with the IRS. The form is called Form 8822. Before I wrap up, I want to give you a quick summary of everything we have talked about. The IRS is sending out stimulus payments starting on March 5th to people who are eligible for the third round of stimulus checks, but never received them. The maximum payment is $1,400 per person. You are eligible if your income was below the limits I mentioned earlier, and you did not receive the full amount. If the IRS has your information on file, you do not need to do anything because the payments will be sent automatically. If you have not filed a tax return, you should file one as soon as possible. The payments are not taxable and generally will not affect your eligibility for other government benefits. You can check the status of your payment using the Get My Payment tool on the IRS website. And please watch out for scams because the IRS will never ask you for personal information over the phone, by email, or by text message. I really hope this video has been helpful. If you are someone who has been struggling to make ends meet, an extra $1,400 or more could make a real difference in your life. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Seniors Social Security Updates so you don't miss future updates. I'm Zane, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and stay blessed, everyone.